do?
What should I do?
What should I do?
What should I do?
What are my rights?
What are my rights?
What are my rights?
A legal course of action.
A legal course of action.
A legal course of action.
A legal Morse of action.
If there is a change to that video, we have to keep the steps of courthouse.
I know.
That is just perfect. I could not imagine.
I can do it again.
You can do it again?
They're my feet.
Yeah.
My feet.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new episode of Illegal Morse of Action. My name is Patricio, and as always, I'm joined by Attorney Morse.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Happy New Year!
Oh yeah. I don't really eat lunch, so.
I asked you.
I know, but I haven't.
Yeah, but I would have gone and gotten you even better snacks. You know, to Chipotle or Chick-fil-A, something decent, something good. I ended up going to lunch at around 3:30 this afternoon because I just lost track of time, and
Really?
I ended up going to Popeyes.
Oh, okay. Did you get a chicken sandwich?
No, I didn't. I did not want that chicken sandwich. It's delicious.
Is it? Have you had it?
I've had it 3 times, and it's so good.
How does it compare to Chick-fil-A?
You really want to do this?
I do. I want to know.
Okay.
I've never had Popeyes.
Never had Popeyes chicken or just Popeyes sandwich?
My cousin, Jenny,
Shout out to you, Jenny.
worked at Popeyes when I was like young. I'm talking 6, 7 years old.
Okay.
In Massachusetts.
But you haven't had it recently. Oh.
I'm not a big fast food person.
No, I know that I know for a fact.
That's why I don't know. I don't like it. I'm often very dissatisfied.
I do feel that the fast food, like KFC and Popeyes, yeah, are the fast food chicken. I prefer either a Church's or a Maryland fried chicken. Like those right there are decent fried chicken. I feel that over the years, KFC's original recipe has lost, I feel some bits of its recipe because it does not taste the same as it did when I was a kid. But the Popeyes chicken, however, is extremely, I love the crunchiness behind the chicken.
Okay.
And they butter their biscuits, like they I don't know if they drench them or they take them out of the oven, dip them in butter, put them back in the oven, and then coat them one more time with a layer of butter. But to me, I prefer the Popeyes chicken with their fries over any other chicken anywhere else.
Okay.
That's just my
So
opinion.
better than Chick-fil-A.
Better than, well, the chicken sandwich, I will say, is better than Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich. I feel like I'm saying...
Ask in the comments.
I feel like I'm saying blasphemy right there just by talking bad about the Lord's chicken.
I do like Chick-fil-A. I really like their spicy chicken.
Without cheese. I like their...
Their fries really disappoint me, and they don't make them well done. The good news is that with the way my husband cooks, he cooks in exactly the way I like it, and that happens from like day one.
Mhm.
I eat a meal and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. It just has exceptional taste.
Wasn't that your guys' second date? Like, he actually cooked for you and Connor?
I mean, no, I had been with him for a while.
Oh,
That
okay.
was how he convinced, because he knew that the barrier to, being with me and being really serious or invested in a relationship would be making sure he won over his heart and his son.
Yeah.
So he invited us over for, it was on Valentine's Day, and I was like, well, can I spend time with my son, a couple of things that they do at school that the parents get involved in. So I said that on Valentine's Day, like, I'm not doing anything on Valentine's Day. I was like, I'm not hanging out with you, but I'm not doing anything with you on Valentine's Day. I will be spending that with my son, and said what I said. Do not get me anything for Valentine's Day. I'm not available. And he goes, well, if I cook for you guys.
I will say I did pull a page out of Sam's book, and the guy who was talking to a girl with kids, book because I've been talking to someone who has two kids and met them over. We kind of officiated things during the break, and our second date, she had came over, but she was like, "Well, look, I want to come over, but I have my daughter." And I'm like, well, this is a child-friendly house. I'll cook for you and her daughter and your daughter, and it'll be fine. She came over, and I made a simple Spanish dish, and she fell in love. The daughter fell in love with the house because you've been there,
Yeah.
and the fact that we have a playground in the back from the previous owner,
That's
like,
awesome.
won her over. So it's always difficult. I don't want to say it's difficult, but you have to know how to deal with someone who has kids if you want to progress the relationship.
Yeah, and I had a little bit of a different approach. I was like, you're not me.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, I don't.
No, you don't.
I
You don't need a man.
No, I'm like, you are an accessory, for entertainment. I would only see him, if we had a date, I would see him come to bed.
hmm
I would go sleep.
So like
So
late.
right.
So those were late dates.
Yeah, I mean, we went to bed at 7:30.
Okay.
So,
I've been there.
yeah, I don't even have our date at 8:30.
hmm No, I was actually hesitant because like when she had said, "Hey, would it be cool if I bring my daughter?" I'm like, how old is she?
Yeah, I would be like, he's not coming, you can't meet him. I was such a troll. He really had to like, I'll take you at my apartment.
hmm
I have a dog, my dog is with kids, and my son really loves dogs. Now he really loves Susie.
Yeah.
The dog that came in Sam's Ken doll package. So it was, that was kind of, and then because I was so particular about, I'm cautious about moving,
yeah.
and he had met, no, so when we had come over, he had two Matchbox cars.
I've heard the story.
So, pretty good.
But no, like Sam has is great with Connor.
So good.
From the times that I've hung out with them, it's crazy because Sam has taken the role of like as if Connor was his,
Yeah.
and I would how do I say this? I would love to jump into Connor's mind to see how he actually processed this transition because I know it's not a typical transition.
You want to hear a funny story about that? When he had, his father passed away,
Yes.
and he was talking to a bunch of his friends.
Who Connor?
Yeah, he had a bunch of his friends over in the pool, kind of hanging out, and they're swimming in the pool. And they're like, yeah, Connor. And they speak so frankly, children.
They do.
They do.
They really do.
Speak so frankly, right? They don't realize like the sensitivity of the matter. They just don't think about it. It's really bad down. Really,
I feel that Big Mouth does a great interpretation of how kids kind of talk without parents seeing.
yeah. Yeah. So my mom overheard it. I was in the other room, but my mom overheard it, and they were like, one of the other kids, I think they were like 4 or 5 young little boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
6, 7 years old. One of the other kids goes, Connor, you should just have a stepdad. Have your mom get a stepdad. Joey has a stepdad. Stepdad's great. And Connor, somebody's like, yeah. And they're like, maybe we can get like a really cool one who, they said random things.
That is wild.
Yeah, who will go fishing with you and likes
And
cars.
I'm going to presume that the kid who said this had a stepdad, or am I jumping the gun?
No, the kid who said it didn't have a stepdad, but one of the other children there had a stepdad as a result of divorce.
Oh, okay.
So, but then I'm like, yeah, you gotta have to tell your mom to get like a stepdad. This was like 8 months before I met Sam.
Yeah.
Connor had asked me a few times.
How does Connor approach Erin? Like, hey.
Well, if you think I'm blunt, he's as blunt as I am.
Oh, right.
So he just his interpretation of it was, hey mom, could we Yeah, that's right.
Just nonchalant, like,
Yeah,
hey,
just like no big deal. Like, pretty good. That's it.
it's by Friday next week, after school, I would love to meet my new stepdad.
Does anybody like you? I was like, I don't even like you. No. No. I was like, no. I'm like, it doesn't happen like that. It's got to be, someone you like.
Yeah, that is really wild that he made the comment or made the approach like, hey, let's get this going.
Oh, and
Let's
the
go.
meantime, you like ask me for a baby brother or sister, and I'm like, buddy,
You,
I can't do that on my own.
you see, I remember as a child, and yeah, my mom was single. I remember making that stupid comment, like, well, not stupid, but
Yeah, you don't realize. Like,
you don't realize it at that age that, like, oh, mommy, I want a little brother or sister so I can play with. I'm like,
sounds inconvenient.
imagine like being a child and getting that wish just like that. Okay, yeah, you want a live action figure? Okay, here, you're gonna take care of it. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. Like, no, I'm basically screwing myself over asking for a toddler to be in my life because in I don't know how it is in different households, but like from my experience in the Spanish community and Spanish families, like like it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah, everyone in that household is taking care of that baby. I learned how to change diapers, I think, at age 6 because I would help babysit my little cousins in Chicago. So learning how to make formula, learning how to cook, learning how to change diapers at such an early age, it just became okay. Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah. Oh,
Look into it, right?
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. So obviously I didn't do that. I mean, introducing people because it would have been really awkward.
Hmm. Oh my God, yeah.
It's their date. And
No, and
he actually did say that to Hannah one point, right? And he was like, I'm fine. So no, unfortunately, Sam had a really positive.
yes, he does. Yes, he does.
But for him, he was like, I'm really fine.
But no, the approach that men have to take at that point, yeah, it's baby steps. Fortunately for in my situation right now, her older son, who's 13, is visiting from out of town because he's from he lives with his father in a different state, and I think it was like the third or fourth time she was coming over. She's like, "Well, I have my son." I'm like, "Whoa, hold on. How old is he? How old is he? And is he an introvert? Is he an extrovert? I want to make sure that we don't do this just like that." And she had made some comments, and I'm like, no. Let's wait on this. I would prefer to meet him in an open environment, like in public during the day. Let's get to know each other. Not, hey, you come over and play with whatever.
It's hard for children because they get attached and they don't go through the breakup, but they have to go through the breakup.
Mm-hmm.
So that can make it hard for children. That's why you kind of want to play it close to the vest and close into
Oh no, 100%. It's a ballet. It's a balance, and that's kind of like what I want to go into tonight, which is balancing the chaos that is our lives. During earlier today, I talked to you about how we're going to approach today's show. Well, no, talk to you about a couple of things we're going to be doing this week and next week with the firm. And once again, thank you so much for giving us 2 weeks off. That was not gonna lie. There were some points I was bored at home. I'm like, I kind of want to go do something right now. And I'm watching. I did, and I watched a couple of our coworkers' Instagrams and Snapchat stories, and everyone went on some sort of adventure or another. However, you made a comment today that I felt you made me feel a little bit like crap. Like I came in, I worked every day. Now,
well, no, because
yeah, this.
that wasn't.
Okay, my apologies.
I said they asked. I had a couple of things that you guys came up because you saw work done
Mm-hmm.
and had questions about it. And I'm like, no, I was still working. That isn't a mistake. That's real. They were like, where did this court order for this free trial whatever come from? And I'm like, I did that.
Yeah.
So you did? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I also had this and I had that. I'm like, I still have work to do. I still have to come in and, the court ordered me to appear on a couple of things, and I have kind of done so with them, and I'm like, I still appear. So I'm like, I realized that a bunch of, work and orders and, my staff, being righteous of it was like, give people a more are notices of unavailability, who do we need to go after, that they're just entering your stuff without you. I'm like,
It happens.
I didn't tell you, I just did it.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when you guys are asking questions like, what happened with all this? I'm like, man, I thought I put all that away. But I had to kind of,
There was one day I came in and I was doing, I think it was I don't know if it was a day where we met with the foundation people or some other day. I think I was just here for doing my bike workout, and out of nowhere, since I've been doing marketing, you haven't asked me these questions in a while, but you're like, hey, I need a motion and an order and an order.
I was like stuck, and I'm like, these things are coming up, and I don't think I need this done because I ended up having 2 trials, a 3-trial conference, and return of ruling hearing, and then the judge in one of my trials ordered me to prepare a written closing statement and an order. And I had to be strategic about when I submitted my proposed order, because my fear was that, and it's not real, right? And my fear was that the closing counsel would take my work and just piggyback it. I wasn't trying to hand him like the blueprint on how to get this right. So I wanted to submit it 15 minutes before the deadline so that the court definitely had it on time, but that I wasn't giving it in so much time for opposing counsel to take it and do it, because it was, 28 pages.
So
I was like, I had it done, but I was like, I have to be here so I can submit it at exactly the right time because
it was all part of your plan.
It was part of my plan, but I just didn't want it in his hands. I actually thought about doing it 4 days early. I was like, I could crank this out tomorrow. And then I was like, well, the council's going to take it and make it his business. Like playwright, it's not really the same because I'm there, but I'm going to make his job easier. I was like, and we were ordered to create a written closing statement and then an order. And there's fairly simple in this, right? Because we're going to argue all the things that belong in the closing statement. And you have to turn your argument, which is where you summarize exactly what happened in the case and the evidence that was presented, and then it's what order. You have to put all the fine words you want, right? You don't have to, right? Put a really good one. But I like my orders, if I have the opportunity to draft them, to have all those findings in there, it makes it appealable. Especially with my hope for a favorable ruling, it can't be undone for not having the findings. I'm like, not on my watch, so here are all the findings. So it is a little bit more work to protect my client in the long run.
So there was basically like no chill time for you, even during the.
No, I had more days off than I usually do. I was only focusing on the 1 or 2 cases and not the pop-up questions that happen. It's not a complaint. It's just a nature of use.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind. I liked what I did.
So no, like finding the balance right there between doing all the. It was funny. I love it when Connor's here because there are brief moments where he'll just run across and I'll hear and he'll just like dash across the hallway. I'm like, what's going on? And then I've watched him when he does it because he'll run to something, calm down, assess the situation, get what he needs, and then go running back to what he was doing beforehand. And I think back to myself like, was I that fast? Was I that all over the place as a child? And then I think to myself, I'm like, no, I don't have the same energy that Connor does. At never at any point as a child. Well, I can't say that, but I'm sure Connor has just like unlimited energy that you have to deal with on a daily.
I have to give Connor a lot of credit because he behaves different better than I wanted to. He does. He finds ways to do himself in between. But then again, he has,
That's true.
He'll typically put the Netflix on in my office and have his phone. He does FaceTime calls with his friends.
The one name,
Yelling in there.
the one name that I've heard so many times, and I would love to meet this kid because of all the crazy adventures and conversations he's had. Henry. Henry
That's funny.
is the name that I've heard over and over and over again in Connor's conversation. So maybe next year at his birthday party, he'll be there. Like you're the one, huh? Okay, okay.
You're Henry?
So with the holidays, with the firm being closed, well, tech air quote closed, and with everyone time off, like how did you balance like the firm, the family?
So you know what's so funny? I'm gonna make a comment here because we are feminine, right?
We
And-
are. Okay, guys.
As a woman.
I'm a feminist, guys.
I'm gonna get you a pen. You know what's really funny is if I were a man sitting in this chair,
hmm
it would never come to your mind to ask that question. Have you ever thought to think
How does he? All the time, actually.
how do you balance being a diesel mechanic and a father?
No, I guess the question is addressed differently to Sam. So I'm like, how do you find time? Because the day that I
Okay.
came over, go ahead.
Name a male attorney that you know.
Uh,
has a child. Okay.
no, I do. I got one in my head.
Okay.
Uh,
Never asked him how's he doing. I'm gonna answer that.
I never did. I never did.
Never thought about it.
In my defense, the reason why I never did was because I've been over to your house multiple times. That's how it was with him. Like where it was with balancing the firm, the employees, his personal life. I was there a lot of the times, and yeah, I helped him out with things here or there, but running a firm, like how does one do it? Not Erin Morse, but how does one person do everything that you do?
It's funny. So I'm just making a point. I'm not asking.
No, no, no.
The reason I can is that like a lot of times when women are both a mother, some other type of typically male profession, like a CEO, a business owner,
Mhm.
and how do you do it? Fucking anybody would do it. In the house, right? I need a housekeeper. My son has chores. My husband is helpful. He picks up, he picks up from school. He plays an active role in the family. It's women, and I get it. I get it that I am often touted as, and I get the joke. I'm, some type of Wonder Woman, amazing, I can do anything and everything, but I allow it to, I give myself permission to, like, I can't get that done. I can't turn my hand around.
I was gonna say, like, so do you set or know your limitations, or?
Yeah, I just accept it. If I'm, like, emotionally or mentally, so I can back up, right? No male attorney who owned a business could ever be expected to, like, pick up their kid and drop off at school, be there for every single dinner and cook every dinner and clean the house. So on occasion there's a running joke in my family that like if we're in the kitchen, I'm lost. Now you know me and
Yeah.
you know that I can I can do it. I can sew, I'm capable.
Yeah.
I don't. That is not where I'm valuable. Not where this world has needed me. Okay?
hmm
I think I'm a great mom, right? Connor is a great kid. He does excellent in school. He is polite. He is respectful. He is all the things I would want out of a child. And I take an active role in being a parent. But just like anyone, I can't do it alone. My mom helps me often on many things. My mom comes over, she comes over and hangs out with us. She does 2 or 3 local laundry. Like, when I was working, she's so sweet. I love her. She goes, when I was working when I was young and trying to, figure it out and advance my career, my kids were young, she's like, it really would have helped me with my, if I could have had 1 or 2 loads helped out with, she's like, it makes a difference.
Mhm.
I'm not, she's just, she's the same kind of energetic person.
Yeah. No, your mom is awesome, and I had messaged her yesterday with her being a nurse and all. I had a scare yesterday afternoon.
Mhm.
One of my co-hosts from the Along the Side show messaged the group chat and said, "Hey, I just tested positive. You guys be careful and get yourselves tested out." So immediately, I close my door. I'm looking online. Where can I find a rapid test like right now? I don't want to wait the 5 days or 14 days for my result. I feel like I'm more valuable here in the office than I would be working from home. And because of the fact that I'm a social butterfly, I have to go out. I have to just be out there, and whether it's promoting the show, promoting the firm, promoting something, I I can't be in quarantine. So I went to two different sites yesterday that were at capacity or already shut down, and then I look online. I'm like, can I find at least one, maybe a private place to pay? Just get it out of the way now. And I messaged your mom like, where can I get something? Where can I get something? No response. And then this morning, your mom responded to me, and she's like, sorry, I was in surgery yesterday. That's the best excuse. I'm like, I ain't mad at you, Beth. I ain't mad at you.
She, it's funny. I mean, who is that sound like? Back at it.
Right.
The moment you're out, you're just like, I got things to do. Yeah, so she's a bit of a busy body with me. But anyway, the kind of point is that balance is key for knowing that you have to play.
Hmm.
I know that like being the kind of person that I'm reading and having physical things not things that happen. Like I have the ability to do it. But that's not the kind of life I want.
Of course not.
It just be careful. It would stop. And that would make me
You did, however, push yourself beyond limits when you were in law school, right?
well, I don't know. It didn't feel like I was pushing myself.
It was within your
I
capacity.
felt like I was within limits. My son, I started law school when my son was 5 months old. I tell that story all the time. Lived that life. And I, would have school. I did part-time school, which took me, so that means it took me 4 years left and graduated in 3 years. But it's still 4 to 5 months.
Yeah.
Right, so that's how much time in law school. And for every hour you're in class, you should be reading for 2. So if I was in class and every class was like 30,
Hmm.
that's 6 hours per class.
24 hours. Ooh.
And a lot of the other students that were in the class were graded on a curve. So that means that you have to fall within this bell curve, right? And you have to be better.
Yeah.
Who's better than half of the class? Well, they didn't have a feedback at all about happening. And I did. So I just kept them in my mind.
Yeah.
And I went to school that night because I told you that.
Hmm.
So I am the kind of person that I need to do. Sometimes I can do it, but not consistently.
Hmm.
So I had to do law school.
During nap time.
I didn't know. I didn't know until like later. They didn't tell you that before you got there.
Hmm.
You learn that at like when you're studying for a class. They're like, oh, you should be reading like 3 to 4 hours for every hour you're in class. I was like, bitch, what?
You got shit to do.
And I was like, I can get through the material faster. I'm capable of getting through the material. I can get through the material faster.
You did teach me a method in regards to speed reading that I've been applying little by little, and I've noticed a difference in regards to absorbing the information from said text. And I do thank you for that. You're saving me a lot of time now.
It's a lot of times when you just get through more
Man.
material. I didn't know I read super fast. I just didn't know. It just didn't occur to me. I was never, because in law school you really compare yourself to the other students. And I didn't realize I read fast. I never really sat down and was like, you can read this so fast. Never seen it. So very quickly because I needed to get things and I needed to get things done. So, as I learned, I read really fast because that was really helpful for like, the body. They tell you when you're studying for the outside of your body that you're not going to be able to read through all the I never had that problem. I was able to get through all the questions.
Really?
Yeah, and go back and read.
Because that's not the first time I've heard that statement.
You
And
get through all the questions because you're told to like either Christmas tree or B all the way down or whatever, so that you can at least need to get some sense of something you're right.
Wow. So,
But I did exactly
with all that being said, are there certain areas in life that get more attention than others, or like, and that's where it kind of I kind of want to ask you like the balance of like your mind itself. What areas of your life get like the utmost, and like where are the other ones where like you can like pull back a bit?
I really put a lot of focus on actual time with Connor and my husband. I think that valuable family time is really important. So I often use my laptop at the office, even if I work a little bit late, especially if I work late, I make sure it's like not even available at home. If I really have something to do.
I've noticed on nights where when I record here, either I got to put something on your desk or grab something real quick. I will see if your laptop is here or not, and if it's not, it's because she's got a big deadline. If it's here, okay, cool, she's relaxing right now.
Yeah, so I try to be more diligent about this.
So, Mike, I have a question for you right now. Oh, that's your aunt? Hello. Lucretia. I was just about to ask you.
I know. I love her.
What advice would you give someone who's either starting off their own business or entering school? Like the advice on balancing time and energy, because
it's unique to you, right? I didn't realize this, but there's this funny stupid. Oh, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay.
okay. All right.
Oh yeah. It's important. So I was watching some documentary because Steven, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, I was really cool and thought he was really inspirational. He has some like inspirational documentaries.
Yes.
And in one of the documentaries, I don't remember where it was, but he goes, I learned that in order for me to be Michelin, be the best, or whatever, he goes, I needed to read faster. I needed to get it done quicker. I needed to get more sleep in less time. Now, it's probably not be the first person I've said that, but I distinctly remember him saying it in his Austrian accent. Read faster, sleep better, right?
Yeah.
So, and he goes through that, he's like, you just need to do it better, faster.
He's like, and if you don't like that and you don't want to do that, then you can't be the best. You have to just work at it. So, my advice for somebody in law school is to know your limits, like know what works for you. If you know that you need 10 hours a day in doing your homework, turn your fucking phone off and do the reading, like do the things. Showing up and consistently appearing and doing the thing, like just going through the motions and doing it already puts you ahead of 70% of people. Go to class every day. You don't need to miss class. That is you are paying a lot of money to be there. I did not miss class unless it was absolutely imperative. I didn't. I was like, I can't miss class. This is expensive. This is an expensive way to skip out on it.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of one of those things like your class time is valuable and take your notes. You're going to get the bulk of what you need to know from class. If you're trying to figure out like work and home, figure out what, from a person of being a professional and having the ability, you have to figure out what you can delegate. If, you're living in a household, everybody who lives in the household contributes to the household because you live there. Right? So Connor is not entitled to the excuse of like, why do I have to do the dishes? You eat food, right? That's why. You eat here, you
Yeah.
live here, you exist here. This isn't a gender role. This is like a basic life skill. I don't want him to marry a woman who's going to baby him. I don't want him to marry a woman because what he really needed was someone to help him with the laundry he doesn't want to do. Because that's horrible. And people get into these marriages. I see it all the time. They get into these marriages where a husband will marry this very mothering person who takes this like control space of the children and the household. And then when they're divorcing, they're in a very unfortunate, like just social circumstance where the husband isn't used to, and he ends up in another relationship really quickly. Thumbs down.
Why do you think that is? Like, why does...
Because he wasn't given that life skill.
In regards to, like, maintaining the household?
Yeah, cooking, cleaning, whatever it is. He like attributes that to a woman, whether positively or negatively. And to him, because it's not something he was always required to do, it feels difficult or arduous or, unfortunate to have to do.
Yeah.
So he'll marry a woman who is easy at doing those things, and that sucks because then that woman feels taken advantage of for, like, having to be his mommy, right? Fucking cycle continues.
I'll ask you this because as a child, and like I said earlier, growing up in my household, like you learned a lot. My grandfather taught me mechanics at a young age. My grandmother taught me the way around the kitchen at an extremely young age, and then my mother just taught me other skills that I still use to this day. But it was amazing being able to absorb all that knowledge and experience, and then being able to apply it when I went to college. Because when I went to college, now this is mine now. I have to maintain it. I have to clean. I have to do my laundry. And when I got there, the place that I was supposed to be at, they were supposed to assign me one roommate. However, something happened to that person that they didn't show up to college.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, I can't afford this place on my own. Can you guys find me another location? A few minutes later, they're like, oh, there's this opening. Let's get you in here. It'll work out. I get in there, and I have two male roommates. One guy from Alaska.
They were slobs.
One guy from Texas. Not necessarily slobs, but they didn't know anything in regards to how a washer works. How you have to separate your colors. How the dish. Growing up, we never used the dishwasher. You know what the dishwasher was? Storage. That's all we used it for. Never at any point when we moved down here to Florida, because up in Chicago we didn't have one. We moved down here. What is this? Is this a second oven? What's in here? And my grandma was like, "Ay, mijo, we'll just put the dishes in there. It's fine. We have more space now." And I till this day I still am very uncertain on how a dishwasher properly works.
It just sprays water.
Yeah.
It's a sprinkler.
Sprinkler. It's literally a high pressured, high temperatured sprinkler.
Yeah, so be sprinkler. It's fine. Sprinkler on the bottom, a sprinkler on top.
I was thankful to be able to like show my new roommates, hey, separate your colors, your linens, your everything. Like that.
That's another thing that landed Sam to get the capital H, is that he wasn't the type of man who was incapable of cooking and cleaning.
And that's another one that I wanted to ask you right now, because
It's big.
you dated for a little bit.
Yeah.
Before you
They're
met.
going to be like a lot. I'm like, thanks. No, I'm just kidding. It was an average amount.
You dated a little bit.
Yeah.
Before you hunkered down with Sam and married Sam.
Yeah.
Were there a lot of men in this generation now that were able to cook?
I didn't end up in like longer relationships, or I really didn't open myself up to the opportunity for them to like show me their domestic skills. There was one guy that I was talking to, and I talked to him for a little bit, but he had, after his breakup, even though he was in his 30s, he moved back in with his mom. And I know I shouldn't judge, but I did.
It's
because think about how different places in life we are.
Extremely. A lot of factors have to be considered at that sense. Whether it's a layoff,
But the breakup was like a year and a half ago. So I'm like, bruh.
bruh, yeah, come on, bruh.
So anyway, that was not cool. I didn't care for that, and it made me feel like he did not have domestic skills.
I've had a couple of dates where I've shown off my cooking skills, and it's really sad that hold on, I'm getting okay, cool. They got their code. It's really sad that when a woman tells me, a woman makes this comment, "Oh my God, you know how to cook?" Why is it that?
Do I look like I don't know how to cook?
Well, not necessarily. Like, is it stereotypical that only women know how to cook?
Don't get me started. I don't know. I generally just don't cook. That's not. Sam doesn't cook like every day either.
Yeah.
But
But when he does, oh my effing God, it is delicious.
Amazing.
I was so pissed because I went shooting with Sam this weekend, and he had brought some ribs that we were going to put on the grill. However, we didn't end up using the grill because the other people had already cooked all their food before we got there.
Oh, too bad.
I know.
The ribs came out good.
I
'cause he
was so
left
pissed.
half of them at home.
I was so pissed that he had to take them. Like, no. We could turn on the grill. We could cook these
You
ribs right
should've.
now.
You missed out. They're good. Connor ate almost all of them and cleaned the bones. Yeah, he's a really good cook. I don't know. I think what ended up happening was, we could probably get into the history lesson.
You want to read that one?
This is a former client.
Oh,
He's
former
fantastic.
okay.
Happy client, right? Kevin, sometimes I still tell the story about your mediation and that mediator.
Attorney-client privilege.
Well, not what the mediator's behavior. It was just like I don't cook. My mom is right. I do not cook. It wouldn't, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense for me to cook.
No, and it's actually it's funny you say that because I live with two men. We share a beautiful home, and we actually had a meeting the other day. We had house meeting where we discussed, because of the fact that we're such busybodies, we have so many projects going on. Our time is extremely valuable, and we shouldn't. And forgive me for saying it like this, we can't afford to spend our time cleaning. And
You should split a housekeeper.
Exactly, and that's where it got to that point. We're like, how much would it be to actually have someone come in, whether it's once a week, twice a month, what have you? What are the options that we have to? Oh, let me take that one off.
I don't care.
What options do we have, because our time is valuable? Like this week, I haven't been home no earlier than 10 o'clock this entire week, and I'm sure tonight won't be any different, nor tomorrow, and Saturday will be the first time I'm actually staying in my house after 9 a.m. But no, it is important when you have to balance everything out, whether it's the fact that you're working 1, 2, or possibly 3 jobs, whether you are the owner of a small business or a large business, whether you're a content creator and you still have your normal 9 to 5. The balance is extremely important, because of the fact that without balance, there is, without, shameless plug, there is chaos. And
Yeah.
I've realized over these past 2 years since I started doing podcasting, I live off of my calendar.
Yeah. I live and die by my calendar. Oftentimes you ask me about something, and that's part of how I find balance, is by calendaring. That's how I find balance in the office, because there's a big thing that I read about it, and it's called time vampires. And time vampires are the things that just suck time out of you by the actual amount of time that it takes for them to cook, for them to do the thing, and then the distraction for you to get back focused on what you were doing. So one of the ways that I try to resolve those time vampires is I don't take phone calls unless they're scheduled.
Yeah.
So that I'm prepared for it. I can pull the file, I can take a look, I can be prepared to answer any questions that they might have. I find that I am.
Because you have to be in a certain mindset before you do a consultation.
Yeah.
You have to be well informed before you talk to
A
opposing
client,
counsel.
and if a client had a bunch of questions or they sent me some documents, they're like, "Oh, I sent you an email." I'm like, "Cool." I get about 150 of those a day, so hold on while I go find it. Whereas if we have a scheduled time, it works for a couple of reasons. It's because I don't ever have to call them and say, "Oh, hey, do you have a minute to talk?" And they're like, "Well, my kid's here," right? So if they schedule a call, it can work with their work schedule. It can work with making sure their children are around and making sure that they have their questions kind of set aside. And the same goes for me. If they sent me an email or a screenshot of a text message or something that had come up recently, I can already have that in front of me and be responsive to it. So, that's one of the ways that I make sure that everybody's time is utilized efficiently, including my own. Because if I were to just pick up the phone every time someone called, I would never get things done.
You would not, yeah.
And I would have a lot of clients who were very unhappy because I wasn't responsive to them in other ways that they need me to be responsive.
I say this with all due respect to every attorney that I've worked with. I don't ever work since I've been working with you. I've realized the error of my ways with previous attorneys where I send them emails on everything. I would send them emails on everything that's going on every case, on every question that I had. And you guys get so many effing emails an hour where, mine will fall back. Mine will get lost in the mix. And it's understandable because there's an overload and an unbalance when it comes to your emails to the point where, like, I don't even say the word email to you anymore.
Right.
Because
He's like, "Did you get my email?" I've never been like, "Yeah." No. I'm like, "No, I didn't."
And even on text messages, because I kind of noticed that if you get a text message, it distracts you from what's actually going on. Even though you have your iWatch that literally will show you my text message, no, those 2 seconds that you takes to flip your hand, look at the screen, has taken you away from what your main focus is on at that specific moment. So when that door is closed, honest to God, like everyone in this office does their best not to knock on that door.
It's true.
Because
But I try to keep it open. When I'm like, if I'm available, I try to keep it open.
No, and we're grateful for that, and I'm so thankful that you actually do that because there have been so many other attorneys where I haven't gotten a response, and I swear to God, in days on a specific client, on a specific case, I need something now, but even at come back to me. Now I get it. Okay, because there is
Time vampires, right? They
vampires.
just suck from you and you can't get control of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the ways I try to find balance. The other thing I do, and I think that this helps me get a lot fewer of the pop-up, "Hey, quick question." And I don't mind it, but it takes me away from my focus. If I have, a 28-page finding and I'm the only one who was at the hearing, like, I can't delegate that. No one else could do that. So what I typically will do is when I get into the office, I try to put my stuff down, and if I have something I immediately need to focus, I'll sit down and focus. But I try to go to like everyone's work area and be like, "Hi, I am available. Do you have any questions? What can I answer?" And make myself available and be responsive. So that's one of the ways I try. I can cut down on interruptions if I make sure at least once or twice a day, I place myself in like available, like I'm available to just focus on what you need. So, and you are really great at being like, "Hey, I need you for a minute. I need you to come and sit down," and you present me with everything. I'm like, "Fantastic." And we can go back and forth. So that makes it easy, is that we just have FaceTime, and I really try. And I hope it shows that whenever someone's like, "Hey, I need something from you," that I really do try to like, "Okay,
Yeah.
yes." That my answer is yes, I will give you this attention and be responsive to that, because it's a hard balance. You're being just pulled in so many directions that you have to accept that this is my direction right now, right? I actually, my son had this question about, it's ironic, about how sometimes when he's playing at school and he wants to just play basketball and practice by himself, one of the other kids will come over and want to play with him, and he feels like he needs to be nice. And I was like, well, you don't have to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
The lesson I was trying to give him is no is a complete sentence. And it's okay to be, guarded with your time and what's important to you, and to place values on yourself, because I think he has a little bit of his personality where he kind of wants his own time. So I told him the story about how when the building manager came in with Christmas gifts, and I was in the middle of a hearing, and he did see me walking around, so he wasn't trying to be rude. He really wasn't. But I had to we had a brief break, and I had to go pee. So I hustled to the bathroom, and I think he saw me coming back in and was like, oh, it must be a good time because she's walking around.
Yeah.
And he comes in, and he was like, hey, can I pop in your office for a second, whatever? And I was like, no. I'm like, do not come in here. And he kind of laughed. He's like, did she just say no? And you were almost confused because I think you might not have known that I was still in the hearing, or that it was continued for
That
longer.
was the thing. I thought you were done.
It had gone over, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're like, did you really just say no? And I'm like, yeah, I'm in the middle of this hearing and I can hear the judge speaking. I'm like, I can't talk to you. So you have to, and it seemed rude, but I didn't have it
No, there was no other delivery on that point.
If you don't mind, I'd like to remain in my hearing. I really couldn't, I really couldn't.
You weren't available.
I wasn't. I wasn't.
Plain and simple, you were not available.
So I told Connor that story, and I was like, I wasn't the nicest, but I had no other way to kind of communicate that. I'm truly not available. Please do not step into my office because I have a judge.
Exactly.
And I had to say no because the judge was about to, they can see me talking, and if I'm speaking or speaking to someone else, they're like, who's in the room? No one else is supposed to be in the room unless you tell us, and if I'm just like, no, I'm telling my staff, get the fuck out. It's awkward.
No, it is. And you are a badass when it comes to balancing out your time, your effort, and your focus with.
Because I'm willing to be rude with it,
You're
right? I'm willing to be
rude.
protective, and that's kind of probably the balance of. That's probably the lesson behind balance, is be protective of your time. Be protective of what works for you. Scheduling, calendaring, making it right for you. So that's one of the ways that I find balance, is that I say no. I'm willing to say no. No, I will not cook. No, I will not clean. and find a way to resolve those types of things.
So normally at this time we would do Erin Reacts. We would do a couple of questions that we have from the Q&A. However, I have another podcast that starts in 34 minutes. I didn't balance my time today properly. That's where
I was a little delayed. I had a motion for summary judgment I was preparing.
You're fine. You're absolutely fine. So no worries on your part.
I know we have a lot of questions. We can get to those. Maybe we can do a whole episode.
We can do a whole episode on that. As we're closing out, Erin, any final thoughts? Anything you want to close up on?
No is the complete sentence. It's finding what balance works for you.
Finding what balance works for you. Lovely.
You need to learn that lesson.
I need to learn that lesson.
Say no when people ask you for things and you don't want to.
No, I like pleasing everybody.
Yeah, no. It is not my nature to be a people pleaser, so this was a very easy transition for me. I'm like, oh, you're unhappy? Good for you. Sounds like your problem and not mine. I actually had to say that to an attorney today.
Oh, wow.
That they were like, well, I feel like blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't care about your feelings. You can tell someone else about that. They're really upset that I said that. Well, that sounds like your feelings, and I don't have a response for it.
Oh, you're sad. Oh.
Okay, I'll write that down.
Oh my God! I don't know if you ever saw the South Park episode in the cable company. Like, oh, does that make you sad? Oh.
Yeah, no. I do. I don't. This opposing counsel had been very difficult, and their chosen legal course of action is very detrimental to a child. So that's why I'm such a bitch, okay?
Well, Erin, thank you so much for your time and your words and your knowledge. 407-900-7451 if you'd like to schedule a consultation, or to visit our website, morse-firm.com. Once again, Erin Morse, thank you so much. I am Patricio, and if it's not legal, don't do it. Bye.
Or call me after you do.